Welcome to another edition of the Division 3 podcast, Calling the Audible. I'm your host, Justin Blanchard. To my right is GM Colethris, looking nice and late. Thanks, GM.
Thanks to the 40.
Thanks to 40. To my left is our producer, as always, the Eagle at Master Control. Oh. And special guest over here, Terry Tam.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Tam, what's up?
Dude, so you don't even play in D3.
Not even close. It's the division I care least about.
So thanks for that, Terry. GM, man, what's up? How's it going? Have you recovered from the top sauce loss to 6+ Ariat? Or
The fact that it was made worse by you bringing attention to the fact that I'm 0-4 against you, that one definitely hurt.
Yeah, it hurts. Actually, I think I went back. I think it's 3-1. Because you guys beat us in regular season once.
Yes, that's right. So then it's got to be 4. 1-4.
Yeah, 1-4, which is still pretty ugly.
How many catches did you have? How many yards?
I don't remember.
That's a lie.
Not even a lot, to be honest. Actually, that was a pretty good showing by the top sauce defense. But that's done. We don't really care right now. What we do care about right now is Coyotes beating Jonesers 26-24.
That was an interesting game.
It was. You got to see a part of it. Essentially, the Coyotes coming in without either Sammy Feeder or Josh Feeder. They bring in Zach Stakowski and Corey Oliver as subs to have essentially 7 guys to play with. Really, not much more to the game as much as just Jonesers were up early. They were up most of the game, and then they just kind of clawed back. Coyotes did. Take it 26-24. The real interesting note here in this one is Sean Steen only 2 catches for 28 yards and 1 touchdown. And that's with his Eskimo Brothers teammate, Zach Stakowski, throwing in the ball. Listen, at this point, he's last on the team in catches, yards, and TDs. Granted, he's only played 5 games, which is less than the 6 or 7 from the other guys, but am I not the only one who's bothered by the fact that Sean Steen is not used that much on this offense?
I think it's also testament to how loaded and how evenly distributed this team is that everyone is a threat and everyone is a weapon, and it's easy to forget how strong Sean Steen is when he's just he puts up, say, pedestrian numbers, for lack of a better word, just because of how strong they are and how evenly the ball is distributed on this team.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, that's a fair point. It's still, to me, it's just mind-boggling. I mean, especially, I think you missed that game in Div 4, but just a reminder of, how just quick and insane this dude is on the field on both sides is really something. So, I mean, Coyotes really don't have anything to worry about at this point, I don't think, moving forward. As for Jonesers, real quick, this is now their second heartbreaking loss in a row here. I mean, real quick, do you see them able to kind of bounce back in time by the end of the season, or?
I don't know if I can break narrative, because throughout the season I haven't been the kindest to the Jonesers, and I've been waiting for them to prove me wrong, just to say hey, there it is, finally, this is the Jonesers team that's proving me wrong. But
yeah, I mean, they're getting close. It's just they're just not able to get it done. When
Ryan Lilinowski and Dave Shittiat are putting up great numbers, but there's a sharp drop off in the team after that point. Yeah, that's a valid point. Next year, speaking of drop-offs, Darksiders losing it to 8 Boys 1 Cup 42-36. Great ending.
It's like this I don't know, I have a love-hate relationship with 8 Boys 1 Cup at this point. It seems like one week Jesse GP lets us down, the other week he plays great. It's listen, in this one he went 12 for 19, 183 yards, 5 TDs, 1 INT. Real quick, essentially this game was really just kind of in Darksiders' control the whole way before 8 Boys 1 Cup scored with 2 plays left. A weird ending with then Fred Morissette dropping the snap on the second to last play, and then a throwback to
halfback issues. Yeah, to Matt Morin.
A throwback to Matt Beaumont-Morin, who decided to try to run it in from 40-50 yards out. Listen, that was a weird choice. Now, listen, granted, for 8 Boys 1 Cup here, Darksiders were kind of short-staffed. Well, surprise.
Yeah, exactly. So I think at this point, we've mentioned it enough, and I guess it's just part of their sort of...
Yeah, no, for sure. It's more what I was getting into then was really more, the question of how did Jesse Dupuis manage to slice up the Darksiders defense that easily? Was it more of a matter of, like I was trying to get to, Fred Morris said, having to play defense in this game? Or was it AJ Gomez subbing in and really taking control? Or was it just kind of one of these random performances from Dupuis? Like, can we expect him to keep doing this for the next 2-3 games?
Well, we mentioned that we were puzzled as to what had been going on with Jesse Dupuis the last few weeks, where with Jean Lucia coming in, being subbed back out, like the two of them sort of playing musical chairs at the quarterback position. But before that, Jesse Dupuis was a strong quarterback. He's a Division D championship winning quarterback, so I know you're going to have some growing pains playing in Division 3, but this is probably the best thing for him, is that taking those lumps and learning from them.
Yeah. I mean, listen, at this point, I think a week or two ago, I was like, all right, put Jean Lucien and see what he can do. And now it's like, okay, just keep Dupuis in, and I guess just see what he can do at this point. I mean, it really seems that he's the main guy quarterback anyway. I don't know what was going on for those few weeks with Lucien, but Dupuis pulling in here when the team needed him most to. And last year, on the subject of quarterback controversies, lightweight losing 25-6 to Laval's finest.
So yeah, there goes that narrative right away. We kept talking about lightweight would be so much better. Well, we've teased, but that lightweight would be much better with Raymond QB over Simon Dagenet.
Yeah, he had that one good game, but this one I got to see it in person. It was bad. It was tough, man.
Just kind of chucking it up.
Yeah, but a lot of especially Phil Kovacic really getting into Frank's head early and often, finishing with 4 sacks, and they weren't like, okay, here's just like, like a random, like an eagle sack. It was like Phil Kovacic laying out to make this sack on Frank Raymond.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or an insult.
It's supposed to be an insult. Anything is supposed to be an insult. No, like he played, lights out. Phil Kovacic did as rusher. And Frank Raymond finished 15 of 30, 125 yards, 1 TD, and 4 INTs. I mean, listen, at this point, they've lost, 2 games in a row, if not mistaken. Is Simon's injury, is his absence, could it potentially cost lightweight a playoff spot here? They're currently sitting in 5th. So, it seems to me like there's a realistic chance. The remaining games are Coyotes and LMC. I mean, I don't know. Do you think
so? I don't think they're going to beat Coyotes, and it's going to come down to that LMC game. If Frank Raymond stays at quarterback, Coyotes at this point have his number with another quick adept rusher who will be rushing him, and it's really going to come down to the LMC game as to whether or not he can buy time in the backfield and chuck it up.
Do we have any idea if Simon's going to be back for that game? Not at all, huh? No. That'll be definitely interesting to see what goes on in that game, because listen, to be honest, with Simon there, I think like we clearly have a chance against him, Mr. Shah. But anyway, if it's the Frank Raymond from this past week, I don't know. I can't really see it. I see them falling from grace very quickly. Which brings us then to our next segment, the segment, if you will, of the show. Eagle Thinks. So
I do.
Once again, for whatever it is, the 8th week in a row, essentially, GM and I are going to bet on what we think Eagle's answer to a question is. Doesn't matter what the actual answer is, only what Eagle thinks is the answer to the question. Eagle, are you ready for the question?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, here it is. Very random question. How many players have at least one game played on the Wolfpack roster?
Oh.
The obviously Division 3 Wolfpack, not Terry Towns.
I mean,
Wolfpack.
if you're asking the question, it's got to be one of 2 extremes. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
All right, thanks for that information. I will definitely use that in my betting over here. Do you have?
Or it could be a perfectly ordinary number.
Yeah, I have a number. You have a number.
Because listen, it could just be a way to just segue into the main topic of the day. But anyway, you have your number. Jim, I'll let you start it off.
I'll start it off at 8.
Boy, okay, all right, Jim, getting right into it. I'm gonna go to 9.
It's obviously gonna be more than 6. So how?
For sure. For sure.
You're going to 9. Okay, I'll go to 11.
I will leave you on that.
Okay.
So if Eagles answer is 11 or more, GM wins. If it's essentially 10 or fewer, I get the W. Eagle, what do you got?
I went with 15.
All right. Shit.
What's the actual answer?
It's 11.
It's 11, which I thought was very timely, if you will, or coincidental.
But 11's a normal roster size.
It is, but that's the whole point. That's the whole point, because what I'm getting to is...
Then why would you ask a question like that?
Because here's why. We're going to be looking at the middle of the pack teams this week. So essentially those 5 or 6 teams who could be anywhere from finishing in the top 4 or out of the playoffs when it's all said and done. So in terms of punishment, real quick here, GM still has to do his from last week.
We can do it during the segment.
And you want today's segment?
Might as well.
All right, so we're gonna have.
Do you get any punishment for having a bad question? Because your question was bad and you should feel bad.
No, definitely not. I think it was a great question. So GM, his top sauce lost to my 6+ star by, you said it was 21 points?
It was
21 points. So we're going to have GM do 21 air squats.
While discussing.
As this section is going on. I guess like when you come down, you can talk, and then you come back up, and we'll figure it out. So GM, essentially what we're going to do here is kind of give our respective dark horse and pretender, if you will, for the middle of the pack teams. The dark horse being that team that we believe will not only make the playoffs but could potentially make some noise, and our pretender here either going one and done and or missing the playoffs altogether. GM, it's definitely distracting. Who is your pretender for Division 3?
You have to hold it while you answer.
Lightweight.
Why?
I think that with Simon's injury,
hold it.
it's going to be very difficult for lightweight to keep their playoff berth with this sort of inconsistency, considering they still play Coyotes and Les Messieurs Chat, who have been up and down. However, we talked about it earlier, and that's just more circumstance than anything else of being pretenders, let's say.
So you think that if it wasn't for the circumstance, then you think that they would realistically have a chance to actually get in and maybe actually potentially make some noise if Simon played the whole season through?
No, because even with Simon there, that would still qualify them as pretenders in a sense.
Okay.
Their spot.
Okay. All right. I see what you're saying. How many is he at now? He's got 2 more. Thank you, Jem, for that wonderful fitness rendition of fitness.
Hey, Terry Tam said he liked my forms. So
hey,
I'm doing something right.
All right, good for Jem. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to be doing next week. All right, so that's
burpees. Anyone burpees?
That's Jem's pretender. I'm going to go ahead and mention my dark horse. Eagle, you did put up they have the playoffs standings in front of them, right?
They do as of right now.
All right, thank you for that. So real quick, as I mentioned before, you have Darksiders right now. Lightweight in 5th place in one of the conferences. I'm going the other conference. My dark horse, not really a dark horse, but given the circumstances right now, they are. That's Top Sauce. Being that you are currently in 5th place, listen, you're right in the middle of the pack right now. You're the dark horse, in my opinion, for kind of 2 reasons here. Number one, regardless of what Vince has been doing as of late, the roster remains one that has the look, quote unquote, of a championship roster. What I mean by that is tall, athletic, fast. Granted, obviously we're not speaking about you here. No, but for real though, between the athletes you have, between Vince, between JD, Chris Millar, Justin McLean, the talent on this roster remains like top talent. The obvious thing is Vince as quarterback. But why I think I'm going to give you guys a bit of credit is we've seen what Vince can do. Just because he hasn't necessarily been doing it the past few weeks, I think he remains a capable quarterback. He just really needs to. To just get it together, man.
Speaking of capable quarterbacks, Simon Dagenet
entering here.
Come on.
It's between that and just the fact of making the playoffs, because you guys are in 5th place right now. But you do have a game in hand, right, with 8 games so far. So a lot of these other teams could very easily jump you. But with FOE, very inconsistent all season, and Red Raiders, who have scored 30-plus points just once all season, those to me look like relatively easy Ws. I think that you'll get those, and I think that you'll make the playoffs. However, questions still abound, as I did notice that you guys have struggled versus top teams. 18-32 loss versus Dad Bod Squad. 33-12 loss to 6+R, 52-45 loss to Bearskins. The common theme in all of them, it was competitive in the first half, and you guys just crumbled in the second.
Sounds like that 6+R game as well.
That's exactly, yeah. So that's legit. That's really how it's been going on. So as long as just Vince just does what he does in the first half, does in the second half, I don't see why there should be an issue here going forward. GM, your dark horse.
My dark horse team is show me your TDs.
Okay, interesting.
I think that they're the perfect definition of a dark horse team in that no one really stands out at first glance, conversely to Top Sauce, but they all play well together as a well-oiled unit. I think that they've had some heartbreaking losses that were due to a tough schedule, but they're going to gain enough traction, they're going to make it into the playoffs, and they're going to get the seeding that's basically going to be the upset waiting to happen.
Okay, all right, that's an interesting choice. Where are Show Me Your TDs? Show Me Your TDs right now in 7th place in their conference. It's interesting you mentioned that because they're actually my pretender. Here's why. If we talk about Show Me Your TDs real quick here, making the jump from last winter, they were in Division 4B, I believe. A couple big changes here in terms of the roster. Dropped about 3-4 guys. One of the big ones being Spiro Vergados, who finished second on the team in tackles in that winter season. This season they've added a few guys: Adam Parasuco, Maxime Urtubis, Simon Lamontagne. They haven't. It hasn't seemed to click necessarily. I don't really see such of an explosive offense as was the case in that winter season. And I think that's for a couple reasons. I think you did touch upon the fact that they have played a very tough schedule so far. But it's just, I think a part of it also is a big drop in their performance in terms of who you expect to do good hasn't been doing as well as I thought that they would be doing coming in, especially looking at the Adana brothers, Danio and Anthony. One of the key notes here, for example, is on defense. Listen, they had a combined 16 interceptions as a team, 16 interceptions and 9 sacks in winter 2016. This season, just 3 picks so far and 1 sack.
I think that's also a testament to the difficulty in the jump.
Definitely,
to Division 3
definitely.
The division as a whole.
I think it's still fair to point out, though. I think it was Anthony who had 8 interceptions in that winter season. I think he has 1 so far all season. Granted, they're playing tougher teams. It's a tougher schedule, but you also expect these guys to kind of make that jump, if you will. They have the experience. They've been around the league a little while now, and I think separate from that fact is also just in terms of the remaining schedule, because granted, it's not just them, right? They're also in common competition here with some other teams to make those last few playoff spots. Their remaining schedule is Brocasian, Coyotes, and Heisman's. I think Brocasian is a loss, personally. I think Coyotes may or may not be a loss. I think Heisman's is that one kind of guaranteed win at this point. So we can realistically assume, if you will, that they'll finish 1 and 2, right?
They can go between 1 and 2 and 2.
Sure. But listen, even if that's the case, there's still 8 Boys 1 Cup behind them. We have Brotherhood, Jonesers, and Coyotes. And BD Bandits, who have Heisman's, Darksiders, and Les Messieurs Chats. I think BD Bandits goes at least 2-1, if not 3-0, and I think 8 Boys 1 Cup will finish with a very similar record to some of the TDs.
They have potential to be knocked out.
So they could be knocked out or finish 8th, and if they finish 8th, who they play in round 1?
The Brotherhood, who.
So I think it's a bit kind of the circumstances that have been just kind of thrown at them here, and especially coming off a tough loss where they're missing some key players. That's really one that you really would have wished to see them win had their full roster come up. So I think they're in a really tough spot here. I think they could very easily drop out, if not finish 1 and done, versus a Brotherhood team who beat them pretty soundly a few weeks ago. 44-6, I think, was the final. So listen, I'd love to see them go. I'd love to see them finish strong. I'm just not sure. I'm not quite sold just yet. What do we have left here?
We have our previews. We
do have our previews coming up. So first in the list here, Red Raiders at 2-4, taking on Bearskins at 5-2. Notes here, we have Bearskins who quickly forgot about that 1913 loss to Wolfpack that we had talked about a few weeks ago, and destroyed OTF 42-24. What do you think is going to be happening in this game?
I like the Bearskins in this one a lot. I think the narrative of Neil Ettinson being uncertain at the quarterback position is starting to fade away. He's doing really well with the weapons he has around him. Many teams don't have really any answer for Sasha Papich at this point. So pair that around Connor O'Brien, Marco Bertoldi. You have a well-formed team here who is going to do some damage, and I don't think that Red Raiders are going to have answers for it.
Okay. No, those are solid points. I think. Listen, I've been on the Bearskins bandwagon since since preseason, right? I mean, I put them in my top 10. I've been kind of pumping up Neil a bit over the season. I don't know. I just have a feeling this seems kind of trap gamey a little bit. Red Raiders coming off a tough loss. Was it to Goshev Bandia, I think, just yesterday, actually. But I think one of the keys here, he doesn't get talked about that much, Hinsley Adams as a rusher. Dude is good, man. That is a solid dude rushing. He has, only 6 sacks so far in the season. I think he can get a few more. I think he can kind of get Neil's head a little bit. Neil does like to kind of move around against the guy who comes in as quick as Hinsley, who can, flush you a little bit. I think there's potential there to kind of, slow down, if you will, the Bearskins offense. And I think that they have potential to keep up if Kenton Lowe shows up again.
Okay.
He who had a big game, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Listen, between Kenton, Marty Friedman, Zach Goldstein, there's potential here for an upset. So that's what I'll say about that. I do think that Bearskins will still pull it out.
Look at Justin wanting to be right.
But yes, I do want to be right. But I do. It would not surprise me to see Red Raiders really make this competitive.
That's
here.
absolutely fair, and I found that point of the Neil Ettenson against Hinsley Adams was a good one. However, that Bearskins defense is
you definitely have to give that defense some props. They have speed, they have size, they're solid all the way around. I don't know. I think it's one of those, if everything kind of comes right for Red Raiders, it wouldn't surprise me, but I will err on the side of caution and pick Bearskins. Next year, 2.5 Dans at 7-0, taking on Izzard Zist at 2-6. Zist coming off a big 48-42 win. It doesn't seem that big, but Prestige Worldwide did score in the last play of the game. It was really more of a 2-score kind of game. Anyway, when I got there, that's what it was when I got to the field. 2.5 Downs, on the other hand, coming off a crushing 46-12 defeat of the seemingly Pascal Murray-less Wolfpack. I didn't see him on.
Yeah, he was not there.
He wasn't there.
It was Corey Greenaway for the bulk of the game, and then Eric Deschambault for the last.
Okay. So what do you have? What do you see happening in this game? Because the pick,
I want to see this game.
I think the pick is obvious.
Yeah.
But how do you see it turning out?
So I see it turning out to be a very, very entertaining football game, because we always talk about the fact that the 2.5 Dan style of football is so frustrating,
right,
for teams who are either new to the league or really in the case of Laser, just they're all C-ship and university athletes, but they're all based around like proper mechanics and form, and Joey Taylor has none of that.
Yeah.
He makes it work in the most frustrating manner for a team like Les Udistes, and I think that
he doesn't just make it work, he dominates.
Yeah,
I think that's what really gets under people's skin, is that it's just not one of these like 26 kind of like he will put up points at will. You just you turn your head, you look at the scoreboard, it's like 0-0. Next thing you know, they're up like 30 points in a flash. So I'm assuming you're still picking 2.5 Dans.
Absolutely picking
yes.
2.5 Dans.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Les Udistes are a good team, but I think that this style of football will frustrate them, and it's going to get them off their game early, and they won't be coming back from it.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you here for the win for 2.5 Dans. 2.5 Dans, a quick note, came up to me, or some of them came up to me at the field at Loyola, and apparently I trashed their defense a few weeks back. Do not recall when. They probably had a very poor game. But listen, I don't know when that was, because they've been solid all the way through at 7-0. And listen, I think that they have a very good chance to keep Marc-André Paradis in check. That's particularly the case if Adam Bailey shows up. Paradis has kind of been the go-to guy at the receiver position for Hugo Henderson when he's been in. And between that and listen, when you have Dan rushing, I think that will frustrate Henderson a lot. I don't think he's expecting that kind of pressure coming in. Henderson likes to kind of move around a little bit. There will be moving around. There will also be a lot of sacks, I think, coming at the hands of Dan. I think 2.5 Dans take this relatively easily. Lizards just not really seeing it with. I don't think that they'll be able to adapt real well against that style of offense, which as you kind of pointed out,
we could be proven wrong. And
we could,
in which case that would be an even more entertaining
game. Absolutely. That would definitely be something to see. But I don't really see it happening. 2.5 Dans, they are legit. So hear that, Joey? I think you are legit. Okay, thank you. Moving on then to the last one here, Mongoose versus Jonesers. Quick notes: Mongoose on a 2-game winning streak. Jonesers, as I mentioned earlier, on a 2-game losing streak. Mm-hmm. What do you see happening in this game, and why?
I kind of like Jonesers for this one, actually. I spent the earlier part of the show shitting all over the Jonesers.
And then now, boost them up at the end so they can.
That at this point, I did say that the team was top-heavy in Ryan Leonowski and Dave Chidiat. And I don't think that Mongoose have the capability to rush and shut down Ryan Leonowski and to cover Dave Chidiat straight up. So with that, Leonowski's going to spread the ball a little bit just to distribute amongst the others, but it's just going to be a show between the two of them in this game. And I like the Jonesers for this one. It's going to be close.
Yeah.
But I like the Jonesers.
I think to play devil's advocate a little bit here, granted, not many teams have really been able to kind of keep Leonowski in the pocket, but that hasn't kept them from beating them regardless. Despite all of Dave Chidiat's stats and big catches, they're still losing games. That being said, I do kind of still think that Jonesers will be able to pull this one out here. I will, however, say that I think Cedric Knuckle on defense will be able to give Chidiat a decent run for his money still. That's still a pretty good athlete going up against Chidiat. Mongoose are more of the, I mentioned it a few weeks ago, kind of the low scoring, that's the type of games that they win. They really play off really kind of the defense's backs. And I don't know that they'll be able to really kind of keep up with the rest of what Jonesers have to offer. We've seen in the past few weeks a couple of guys kind of really start to step up. I think it's Yossi Saleh who's not far off, not far behind Dave Chidiat in terms of catches and yards. I saw him make some really big plays in the last game that they played. Jonesers' season could easily have turned around very differently if not for one or two plays here and there. This remains.
Saleh, do you have internet connection right now?
Yeah, I'm going to get
the disciplinary. Is Yossi Saleh eligible to play after the OCs we saw at the end of that game?
Good question. I'm not sure if he is. I'll have to check that out over here. Jam, entertain us for a minute.
Okay, so you had your shout out, which alludes to since we're wrapping up towards the end. I'm really excited to.
Nope, it's only Yossi Cohen who's on the disciplinary list, if you will, for OCs. If I'm going to bring up the stats real quick, though, from Jonesers, though, I think, because I don't want to be mistaken in this section here. It is indeed. Listen, he's really not far behind. You have Dave Chidiat, 39 catches. Yassi's Saleh's at 34 catches. Obviously, a big disparity in terms of yards. Still making plays and touchdowns, though. 6 touchdowns, which is still pretty respectable. This is becoming kind of a two-headed monster here between, those two and with Leonowski. It's a frustrating quarterback to play, man. It's really kind of what Theo's style more used to be, a bit less now, but he runs around for half an hour and then just throws it up to one of his receivers and they make plays.
It's only so long you can keep coverage for.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think unless you can really kind of keep them up, play them man-to-man most of the game, which I'm not sure that Mongoose will be able to, I think that they'll be able to put up some points, and I'm not sure that Mongoose has the offense at this point to really keep up in terms of, maybe a 30-something game. I think Jonesers will take this one. I think that their losing streak comes to an end just in time for the playoffs to come around. GM, your final thoughts. I think you're getting into that before I cut you off. Anything to say?
Yeah, I read ahead in the script, and what I saw is that you're going to call out Top Sauce and call out Justin McLean, and I just want to take the wind out of your sails a little bit and just say, hey, I'm Justin Blanchard. I know how to cover my own teammate. I'll just play him 15 yards off, and Vince won't throw to him.
The worst part is, I was covering him. I was like 20 yards off, knowing how fast he is. What does Vince do? He keeps trying bomb after bomb, overthrow after, give the kid a 5-yard hook. Please, let him make some plays. And listen, I wasn't even going to call him out. It was more of a shout-out to the 6+star defense. And listen, it was obviously a team effort. I went back and checked because McLean talked about us, how can I say this, kind of putting an end to his touchdown streak. I went back and checked. If I counted properly, that was just the third time in his 35-game regular season career, I didn't look at playoffs, that he was held without a touchdown, which is insane for a dude to have that many touchdowns in that many games. So props to 6+star defense. Way to go, guys. And thank you, GM. As always, Eagle, thanks for doing what you do, making us look good. And that'll do it for us this week. Catch you guys next week.